We already live.
So I gotta watch what I say.
Yes, sir.
I can't use any bad words.
You can use some Sunday school words.
There you go.
Okay, so I use this moment to announce the arrival of Alexander Cummings in studio. This is 2017 campaign song. Danceable one, of course, is still resonating. This is Still of the Nation, Magdalene and Chris. So the next time you hear me, I will be on the other side of the studio. Magdalene will be singing closing time.
Mr. President,
That's what.
once the president is always president.
Thank you.
Yeah. You're on camera already, sir. You done? Okay, so thank you so much, Magdalene, for yes. Thank you so much for that song, and we have to begin right now. When you talk about punctuality, you're talking about Alexander Cummings. We're under pressure to start in time, and of course we are starting in time. This is State of the Nation. My name is Chris, and unfortunately, the office will have to give me lists of all the online televisions and radio stations carrying this live as usual, as we've done. We love to give them the credit as well, since all of us are colleagues. Welcome to State of the Nation, Studio B. My name is Koluba Siafasili. I'm here with Mr. Alexander Cummings. Record 5 times now appearing on State of the Nation. And I think with the elections, on the eve of elections, next year, Mr. Cummings is going to make more appearances on State of the Nation. That is, if we see it necessary and call it. Let me use this time to welcome you once again in studio.
Thank
How
you.
are you, Chief?
Thank you. Good to see you. Good to be back. Magdalene, good to see you as well. Always good to be back with you all.
What's up, Chief?
It's going well. We rocking and rolling.
I was looking. The song there is a YouTube video, and I was looking. Your picture is inserted. I was looking at a picture. Then I didn't see gray hair.
Exactly.
But this one is.
it's all white. They say salt and pepper. All the pepper gone.
You're not president. You said that you did.
And we only got salt now. Everything gone. Yeah.
Okay, so what's up? Last time you were here, we were talking about sanction, and then here you are. You can't finish in the press. You write an open letter. Open letter is reply, and you fire another one. Here you are in the communities reaching out. The last time I talked to Mariah, they were in the slum community, Doe community, and stuff like that. How are you going about crisscrossing the country?
Yeah, we're in Plainfield community.
Yeah.
Look, we are determined, Chris and Magdalene, to continue to put pressure on this government to do the right things for the Liberian people. And we will be unrelenting. We will not stop, meaning we'll keep the pressure on, because it is their responsibility to do what's right for Liberians. The president gets paid, the ministers get paid, the senators and representatives get paid. They're not doing it for free. And we make no apology for calling them out for not doing the right things for Liberian people. We are traveling around the length and breadth of Liberia to make our case to Liberians. At the end of the day, I keep saying Liberians will decide who they want to lead them. But my job and the people that support me is to make the case, to tell them why Liberia can be better, and why we can do a better job for them. And so, as you said, we're going everywhere in Liberia, and we'll continue that effort until October 2023.
Okay, so but what are the people telling you?
So, Liberians are suffering, Chris. If you ask majority of Liberians, are you better off today? Is your life better? Are you suffering less than you were 5 years ago when President Weah became president? Most of them will tell you they are worse off. They're suffering more. It's a fact, and this is what they're telling us. And they want change. The president promised change for hope. Yet, when we criticize him, he said, but oh, they did it before. They did it in the last administration. That's the excuse. So, it's not what I'm doing to change, to improve your lives. Is they did it before, so we're doing it again, right? So Liberians are suffering, and we're getting the message loud and clear. We're offering solutions, alternatives, suggestions, but we'll continue to criticize this president, this government, with the hope that it will do something different and better for Liberian people.
So when the people tell you this, what do you tell them? When they tell you that yes, our life is worse 5 years into this administration, we're far less than where we were before. In fact, we've dropped dramatically. What is your message to them?
My message to them
It's not a usual promise, Liberian politician promise.
no, but the promises are backed by very practical solution suggestions. I tell Liberians the best, and you've heard me say this before, the best predictor of future behavior, future performance is past behavior, past performance. That's the best way you can tell. It's not just what somebody says. So I ask Liberians to look at my past performance, my past behavior, what I've done in my business, corporate life, what I've done in my private life, the little things I try to do to help around the country. Those are good barometers, good indicators of what they can expect in the future, and it should give them some confidence that we're not just making empty promises, but that we can deliver, and that things can be different and things can be better.
Okay, just before we came on with this segment, we got a sponsored segment on State of the Nation every Tuesday. In fact, because of your appearance, we had to do a downward schedule of Dr. Musoko Fala, who is rallying Liberians in the agricultural world to help feed ourselves. If Cummings were to be president tomorrow, before we get into other,
Sure.
Tell me your agricultural policy.
Yeah, so I want to applaud the DAP for his efforts in agriculture. If you look at, and this is public, is online, and we got hard copies. If you look at what we describe as our vision, mission, objectives for Liberia, you will see that agriculture is very high on that list. The first thing on our list is what we call infrastructure. That means electricity, roads, running water, and technology, internet connectivity. The next thing on our list is agriculture, Chris. Because we live in a country where we import almost everything we eat. Even pepper we don't import from Guinea. And yet we got all of this rich land. So agriculture will be a priority. We'll focus and invest in agriculture. I believe the last time I checked, the national budget from this government, agriculture was like $7.5 million. They were spending over $10 million on EPS, sector protection. That's the mismatch between, you can't pay lip service to agriculture and not do anything about it. So we will invest in agriculture. We will make sure we are forming and supporting cooperatives. We'll make sure we are encouraging mechanized farming so that we can buy equipment that the farmers can share. We'll make sure there's financing for them to buy their seeds, their fertilizers, etc. We'll make sure we revitalize the Liberian Produce Marketing Corporation so that there will be a market for the products they produce at the farm. We would think about how we can add value, how we can do some value addition to our, other than just the raw products. So those are all things we'll do in terms of the agricultural priority, because again, we gotta, sustain ourselves, feed ourselves. We got all of this arable land that we're not taking advantage of, and we're putting everything we consume.
Okay, so as I said, State of the Nation, and these are the media entities or outlets relaying this engagement with Mr. Cummings: Spoon FM/TV, Cool FM, Scar FM, Red Power FM, Radio Lawe, Voice of Tapita, Hope FM, Voice of Neighbor, Radio Saclipie, and Proof FM in Saclipie as well, Voice of Gompa, Voice of District 9 Nimba, Radio Beson in Grand Bassa are all relaying this encounter. Oh, sorry, not a football, but this engagement with Mr. Cummings. So, still with presidential stuff, agriculture. Myself, as the progenitor of agro journalism, I got a farm, and I spend much time there, and mixing it with journalism, using my profession to promote agriculture. Just this morning, I got to know that our staple has increased, right? The price is now 2,900 for a 25 kg bag, a bag of rice. The point I'm stressing here, which one of the policy with your administration prioritize, importation or domestication?
We will focus on producing commodities, rice being one of those because it's our staple, but we'll also look at other cash crops. So we got to look at cocoa production, we got to look at oil palm production. What we will do is we'll look at what they call the global value chain, maybe meaning we want to produce things that we have comparative advantage, that we can produce at a lower cost than anybody else, and we can sell, therefore, and make more money for the country than anybody else. So, for example, one of the things we need to look at is spices, like pepper, like ginger. They got spices that grow in the northern hemisphere, like vanilla and those things, and they got southern hemisphere spices. When you look at spices around the world, the price doesn't fluctuate much. The growing cycle is short. It doesn't take a long time, years to grow. So that's an area we want to look at, explore, and encourage Liberians to do that, because that means, by the time you plant the seed, in 6 months, 9 months, you can start to harvest. There's a ready market for spices. So it's just an example of the kind of innovative thinking we need to bring to agriculture. So yes, we need to produce our staple rice, if you will. We eat a lot of cassava. We should produce cassava because we eat fufu, all of that stuff. But then we also got to look at these other areas where they can generate foreign exchange for us that we can invest to do other things. And spices are just one example of things we should explore when we think about agriculture. But we need to think about agriculture holistically, not just, in a narrow band, not just rice. Let's look at it holistically. Let's look at what makes sense. Let's look at what will make money for the country, for our farmers. Let's look at what we need to feed ourselves, and then let's invest to make it a reality.
Okay, so let's hope for the best and see whether we can turn that into reality, as you said. Okay, so but with all this, we are on the eve of the showdown. The 2023 is fast approaching, and every time you tune on your radio, all your data they gather on the internet is Alexander Cummings. If you are not in Marshall, you are in this place. If you're not in this place, you are in the other place. But then the other side of it is that when something sparks up, especially against this government, in the interest, in national interests, let me put it in quotation, fingers are pointed at you, and you being characterized as being desperate for the presidency, and you are the one behind all these unwanted or fake video, alarming, reporting to alarm to the Liberian people of a plan to destabilize this country, just for the status quo to remain in power. How are you responding to these accusations? Have you seen the video in the first place?
Yes, I have. Look, It is completely untrue, Chris. And this points to the lack of leadership of our president and of this government. All of this government does is blame, and takes no responsibility. So they have not addressed what was actually alleged in the video. All they've done is say Alexander Cummings produced a video. But they have not addressed, they have not denied or not the content of the video. They just said Alexander Cummings produced a video. Blame. The president needs to lead. The president needs to address the issues in the video. The Minister of Justice, all he did was he asked the international community to get engaged, get involved. What is he doing to address it? Is he refuting what's in the video? So I did not produce those videos. In fact, one could argue that the government actually, for propaganda reasons, to distract from the reality, produce a video because they reduce the count of video quickly. It happened quickly. And
so you're pointing finger at them for the second video?
I'm pointing at them for potentially for both videos. I don't know that for a fact, but it seems too coincidental. The president is going to the United Nations. Mm-hmm. He's got the issues of sanctions, all of stuff for the Americans. Just one video come up, and then quickly another one comes up, and then they blame me, right? I remind people, I don't have a studio in this country. The president has a studio in this country. I don't have a studio, right? So who has the capacity to potentially do a video as quickly as they have done it? So it is untrue that we produce any video. But the president and the government needs to address the allegations in the video. Let them deny it. Let them say it's not true. They haven't done that. They just say, Cummings produced the video. Completely untrue. Completely baseless.
But tell me if fake. You don't think by extension the contents are fake?
I'm saying they need to address the content of the video. Just saying fake, it make it too easy. Because they say fake and they say it's not going to produce it. I didn't produce it. But then address the content. Some of the content of the video has been unless there were newspaper headlines about Burkinabes in the forest of Grand Jada. That is not new news. I think it was, I don't remember which newspaper, but it was on the front page several months ago.
Daily Observer.
Okay, several months ago, right?
Yeah.
So my point is they need to address the issues. And just this government just blames everything and everybody. President, we have been president for 5 years. They're blaming the other administration. Leadership is about taking accountability. It's about taking responsibility. It's about holding yourself and others accountable. It's about solving the problems, not blaming others for the problem. In the president's response to my letter, the president said there were concessions approved in the last government, but he was senator. He was a legislature, the first branch to hold the previous government accountable. What did he do? Did he vote against those concession agreements? He was senator of the country. He president today. He has the right to audit the last administration. Has he done that?
Yeah, but that's been said repeatedly over and over, and they chose not to audit. But why do you think the fingers are being
my point is,
yeah.
My point is, the president cannot play victim. The president is the president. He has got the authority. He has the responsibility. He gets paid every month to do the work of the Liberian people. He needs to do the work of the Liberian people and stop blaming everybody else. The Liberian people elected him for change. He said change for hope. What happened to that? Because the last people stole, so it's justified people stealing today? The former minister of state for presidential affairs, former prime minister of the country, admitted in Banga on tape that they were stealing. The president did nothing. They need to take responsibility. He needs to show leadership. He can't be blaming everybody else. And the blame itself is this victimization mentality. It is not true.
Okay, so, but the point, let me repeat these questions, Chief. Why did I point a finger at any member of the opposition other than Alexander Cummings?
Because they believe I represent a real threat to them succeeding themselves. They see me as the opposition, as the person that is standing in the way between now and them sustaining themselves, winning in 2023. And so they're trying to put everything on my foot, blame everything on me. Yeah, go ahead. Look, I will describe it, Magdalene, as kind of mixed feelings. On the one hand, it's like, that's because I must be making progress. They must know the Liberian people are looking at me as an alternative, as the person who can redeem this country. So on the one hand, they say, look, maybe that's not a bad thing. Let them blame me because it actually helps propel me even more. On the other hand, it's not true. It's completely bogus. It is nonsense. And so that part kind of irritates me. It kind of makes me mad, makes me vexed. But for the most part, it is an acknowledgement that we're making progress, that Liberians are listening to us, that our supporters are making progress. As you mentioned, Chris, we're traveling around Liberia. We go everywhere to make our case to Liberian people that we can do better as a country. We can do better as a people. And we have to make this president a one-term president so that we can restore good governance, economic growth to our country. And I think the fact that that message is beginning to resonate, they're trying to find ways to blame me for everything, thinking it will change the Liberian people's mind. I can tell them it will not change the Liberian people's mind. The reason why it will not, because the Liberian people are feeling the suffering. That one, unless they take some action to make it go away, all of this blaming me is not changing the fact that Liberians.
But they seem to be winning. Especially some members of the opposition seem to be agreeing with the government, pointing finger at you. That you are behind the video.
Well, I don't know which member. You should say who they are, so we can talk about it. But Chris, because I'm also a threat to their aspirations as well. Weah wants to sustain himself. He wants to get re-elected. They want to replace President Weah, and I'm viewed as the obstacle for both of them. So Liberians need to pay attention to that, though. Right? There's a reason why, and maybe that's why this lawsuit was brought against me. They connived with the government. That wasn't by accident, right? So it's a continuation of the trend that's happened in the past. But be that as it may, I am determined to make my case to the Liberian people. At the end of the day, Liberian people will make that decision. And then we'll all live with the benefit or the consequences of that decision. My effort is about Liberia and Liberians. My effort is to say to Liberians, we can do better. We can change our country. We have the resources to do it. We've given specific examples, recommendations on how it can be done, and we'll continue that positive message of making our case to the people. We'll continue to hold this government accountable, and then in October 2023, Liberians will decide who we want to lead them for the next 6 years.
State of the Nation is 6 minutes up to. This interview will continue up to 15 minutes past 4 o'clock. We take our first break and then entertain your participation. It will take us up to 4:30. Then Mr. Cummings will use 30 minutes to address all of your concerns as you will raise during the telephone conversation. So this video, let me go on the other side. There are two videos. Now you are suggesting that the two videos came from one place. Which one you believe? The second one is attacking your person. You're desperate, you got rich friends, you're using millions in the political corridor in Washington, D.C. to nail government officials, and you have, in fact, you've testified more lobbying in D.C. To get additional 2 government officials for sanctioning. How powerful you are for the United States government to be listening at you and taking orders from you?
It's laughable. I mean, if the Liberian people weren't suffering so much, this would be a joke, but it's not a joke, Chris. We'll talk about some facts, because we want the foundation of this conversation needs to be based on facts. Mm-hmm. It's a fact that this government is corrupt, that they're stealing, as manifested by the sanctions against these government officials. So, again, I wish I was as powerful as they accuse me of being and influence the U.S. government. But let's put that aside. Am I the one responsible for the acts that the former minister, the former port authority, am I responsible for the acts that they committed? The Minister of State admitted in Banga. You should play that tape, please, if you can find it. That they're taking the money, but they're spending it to build houses and stuff to develop the county. They admit it. Am I the one that said, the former minister should do these things or whatever the port authority manager was accused of? That's the crux of the issue, is those actions. And the president did nothing about it. Yeah, I don't know if he's benefiting from it or not, but that's what drove these other things. So to attack me for bringing sanctions and all that kind of stuff, completely untrue. I wish I had that kind of authority with Americans, right? This is the most powerful country in the world. One citizen. The government is alleged to be spending millions of dollars on lobbying, right? It hasn't helped them. You know why? Because as the saying goes, you can't put lipstick on a pig. The pig will still be a pig. They can't put lipstick on their acts. And I'm not responsible for the acts. And they're being sanctioned for their acts. That's what Liberians don't understand. And this stealing, this corruption, is the reason why there are no drugs in the hospitals. There's no supplies in the schools. People don't get paid regularly. The suffering is a direct result of these actions. And it's not a comment that had nothing to do with the actions that these people are accused of doing. I didn't make them do it. I didn't encourage them to do it.
But you want more sanctions. The last time you were here, you said you welcome the sanction, and in your words, if this is how the United States could help Liberia to fight corruption, you welcome the sanction.
We need to fight corruption. This president needs to fight corruption. This president pays lip service to fighting corruption. If the Americans see, and the Americans will not make these allegations unless they have proof. If they see, and remember, these sanctions are on the individuals.
Yes.
They're on the individuals. If the Americans see fit that these individuals are stealing and they got proof, yes, they should bring sanctions on the individuals. Because the president, if the president was punishing these people, the Americans will have no need to do it. The president, when he suspended them, said he was going to investigate. They will do due process. Where's the investigation? Who's doing the investigation? When will the investigation be done? What will be the result of the investigation? The president has the control to do these things, Chris. If the president was doing these things, the Americans would not be part of us. We should be, but he's not doing it. He's not leading. These are the facts. So we will continue to ask, because he said he was going to investigate, and we will do due process. We will continue to ask for that investigation. Because it's not good enough for you to steal from Liberian people. And this is our money. Liberian people, listen to me. This is our money. This is your money. It's not good for people to steal your money and they just resign. And they keep the money. They just go away with it. There's got to be consequences. They got to be prosecuted. If we want to change Liberia, we got to change these attitudes. We got to punish bad behavior. We got to reward good behavior. Otherwise, Liberia will not change. Otherwise, they just talk. And the president has the authority to do this. He has the responsibility. He has the accountability to do it. He can prosecute. Let's get the facts. Let him go after it. He said he will investigate. Let him investigate. Let's see what the facts are.
I know you when your character is under threat, and I know how you fight back. In your words, you've always said, your character should not be touched. As evident by the action you took during the court trial, you had to hire an internationally recognized firm to come and do a forensic investigation. This one again is about your character. You intend going beyond the Justice Ministry's press statement to go for further investigation to exonerate yourself.
Well, look, the difference here is that this is not an allegation of a crime, right? But yes, my character, my values, my integrity matter. This government has nothing, they tried a lawsuit, it didn't work, in conniving with the other folks in opposition. They can't say I'm corrupt because I'm not, know what is in my private life. They can't say that. I've never been in government. They can't accuse me of war crimes or facilitating the war. So they are making these things up. But I think the Liberian people know better. We shouldn't underestimate the intelligence of the Liberian people. The Liberian people know they are suffering. And I think most of them know that this is all made up. This is not true. Because it does not personally benefit me anyway. And the Liberian people understand, at least I hope they do, that the acts for which these people are being accused has nothing to do with me committing those acts. Those were free men in this case who committed these acts, and these acts are just being called out. So I will continue to deny vociferously that I'm the ones behind these videos. And I was not stopped though by calling this government out for their lapses, for the lack of accountability, for the lack of leadership, for the corruption. I will not stop calling them out because it happens to be true. And they're not denying those things. They're just saying Cummings did a video, or Cummings controls the Americans.
Disappearance of the election magistrate.
Exactly. They're not addressing
the missing money.
They're not addressing any of that stuff, right? None of that. The excuse it. That's why I said president plays victim. Oh, it's somebody else's fault. It's a prior government, or it's Cummings, or whatever. What is he doing? He's president. He's got control. Why is he not addressing the issues and these allegations? Though that's the reality. And Liberians, please, you listen to me. That's the question you should be asking. What that 25 million mop up? Whatever happened to that money? They have never explained that money. Right? They got an authorization from the legislature to print. Where are the new notes they printed? These are questions you should be asking. Alexander Cummings, they didn't print those notes. Alexander Cummings, they didn't get a legislature to approve it.
It's like giving up.
Alexander Cummings, they're not doesn't run the Central Bank of Liberia, right? The president is responsible for all of these things, and when they can't explain it, we'll call them out. We will not begin, and we're calling it out on behalf of the Liberian people, because again, the suffering we are facing is a result of this incompetence, ineptitude, and lack of leadership.
Sometimes when you characterize this government as incompetent and stuff like that, others start to question. You saw all of these negatives. Here you are, Cummings Africa Foundation injected, sought the permission from government to help in the fight against COVID. He gave several $1,000 to the hundreds of $1,000 to this government. You don't think, why did you rethink that these people are corrupt, and if I remitted this money to them for the fight, it will go in individual pockets?
No, I didn't give it to them though, Chris. In fact, some of the critics say I should have done that. I should have given them the money. We did not. We actually used those funds to procure the first wave, COVID wave, the early part. We procured food, rice, oil, food stuff. We donated to orphanages around the country, hospitals and stuff. But we did food. The second time we did medical equipment and supplies across the country. But we did not give it to the government.
But did you have to seek permission to do what you did?
No. You don't need permission to do charitable work.
But you wrote and you were replied to go ahead.
No, we didn't ask permission to do that. No, we didn't. You don't need permission to do charitable work in Liberia, so we didn't get permission. But we did those things, and did not give the money to the government. Okay,
so let's move on to another one. The House of Representatives seems to be, like somebody called it, the House of Elders, overtaking the Senate. All the Senate wanted, or the change of magistrate that you call on the president to veto if it went to him, the House of Representatives said, no, this is administrative, leave it, but recommended rotational, on a rotational basis. And then all of a sudden, a bill is there in the Senate again for pension for legislators and their family members. I haven't heard you speak on these ones.
So I may speak on it now.
Yes, please.
on the magistrate area, I think that has been settled. I think the House stepped in, so that issue has gone away. Look, I think the rotational piece is not a bad idea, and I think the language of the bill says the commission may rotate. They didn't say they must. So, and I think that's an important distinction. So I think that's okay. And rotating magistrate is not a bad idea, right? Because so I think that issue has been taken care of. On the pension issue, I think one of the headlines in the newspapers I read somewhere, or maybe on social media, saying something like it was sort of wicked.
Yeah, wicked.
Or diabolical.
Yes.
Yeah. And it was. In a country where, most Liberians live on less than $2 a day, for these few people to not only getting overpaid while they're active, but want to continue to get overpaid after they leave office, again, is wicked. It's unconscionable. And so, shame on them. I think they've gone back now to the drawing board because of the public outcry against it. And so, yes, I agree with the public sentiment that it was wicked. Look, I would say to you, our legislators, particularly when you look at the leadership of the legislature, right, and you look at the budget that was proposed for the various offices, those people make more than the legislators, particularly at the leadership level, of the United States of America, one of the richest countries in the world. How can we explain that to our people, to the teachers, to the healthcare workers, to the policemen, to the soldiers? How can we justify that? Look, we gotta change the country, Chris, so that we are providing essential services to our people, good hospitals, good schools, electricity, so that they don't have to line up to ask the legislatures to help them. So we got a few Muslim men, some women there, who I described, they kind of play God. They decide, okay, I will help you with your child school fee, I will help you with your hospital bill, I will help you bury your sister, your mom, your child. We got to change the country so that the government is providing those services. People are getting paid a living wage. We got good hospitals, good schools, so that we're not begging each other, right? So that the legislature can make a decent salary. Because the excuse is they got to make a lot of money because they got to do these things. That's the wrong way. Let's change it. Let's fix the country so that we pay a living wage.
If you were sitting in a high seat and that bill is brought to you through the chair on executive, and this is it, it's on your decks.
We'll veto it.
That's right. I didn't even say that.
We'll veto it.
Veto it, but then they override it with 210.
But look,
then it becomes a law.
Look, Chris, this is where leadership comes into play. First thing, going to this election, we will really try to support representative candidates and senatorial candidates who will do the right things for Liberian people. But then you will not get 100% of the legislature with you. We got to sit with them. We got to talk to them. We got to lobby with them. It's okay. It happens everywhere in the world to negotiate with the legislature. To say, look, we need to pass this bill, and he or she might say, but look, I need a bridge, or I need a road, or I need a clinic in my community. Those things happen in politics because they're not benefiting the individual, they're benefiting the community, benefiting the people. But the point is, even before that bill got to my desk, they would know. We would say, gentlemen, we can't do this, or ladies, this is not going to work, right? The idea of people getting pension is not a bad thing. It's not nothing wrong with that, but it gotta be commensurate with what the country can afford, with how the average Liberian lives and how much money they make. It can't be 103 people. In this case, I guess it was the Senate. It can't be 30 people that want to take most of the money, and the rest of us, cannot.
So if you veto it, and then it's overridden by 2/3 votes, what could be your...
My point is, though, Chris, God help me, I become president of a country, we will work with the legislature so it doesn't get to that point. This is where leadership comes into play. This is where we sit with people, we reason with people, and many of the people in the legislature, I think, are reasonable people. I often say that if we change the environment where people know you reward good behavior, you punish bad behavior, most people will act, will do the right things. Most people will conform, right? But in a society where you can get away with anything, right? So the legislature also trying to get away with everything. So we will change the environment, we'll change the way we interact with each other. We'll hold each other accountable. They should hold me accountable if I want to do something stupid, want to do something wrong. It's their job. And we'll do the same thing. We'll take this message. We'll go to Liberian people and say, just people, this is what they want to do to you. And they will feel the pressure from their districts, from their communities. And that's how you can put pressure on them. And they should put pressure on me too if I want to do something stupid.
Okay, so there's in the next 3 minutes we're supposed to be taking a course, but let me reference. By the way, I'm coming to you. Spoon FM, TV, Cool FM, Sky FM, Red Power FM, Radio Lawe, Voice of Tapita, Hope FM, Voice of Nimba, Radio Saclé-Pied, Voice of Gompa, Voice of District 9 Nimba, D9 Nimba, Radio Bezon, and the updated list that just came in. Radio Live is in Zozo, Radio Kangema is in Ganta, Radio Joel Africa, Radio Bezon is in Buchanan, and Super Bondi's Banga Bon County. Also, we're coming to you on 96.1 in Saclé-Pied, Nimba County, Truth FM in that part of the country. So, yep, Magdalene, right after your question, then we'll begin taking calls.
It is. Magdalene, as I said earlier, good question as always. I said earlier to Chris, we will never stop asking the president to do the right thing. We will never stop asking the president to do the right things. And because we go into another election now, the president needs to declare his assets. It is never too late. He should do it, and we'll continue to ask him that and many other questions. And again, no apologies, because one of the primary reasons why Liberia is where it is today is because of the stealing, this corruption. Yes, it's been in our country from ever, right? But we gotta stop it at some point. That cannot be the excuse, because other people did it. So that means Liberia will never move ahead. And I don't accept that. Liberia can't move ahead. We deserve a better Liberia. We'll see. I mean, let's see what the president does. He hasn't done it so far. I don't think he will, by the way, because that means we'll have to refute the assertions we made there, and I don't think they're prepared to do that, so I don't think they'll respond. But I also in my letter said, let's have a debate. Let's come here.
So
Chris,
if I arrange it, you come
I will be here.
With the president or any of his lieutenants?
With the president? No, I want to debate the president. Let the president come.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, in 2017, there were several debates in the election. The president never came to any.
Yes.
Yeah, so I don't think he will come. But if you can organize for him to come here, we'll
give it a try. We'll give it a try.
We'll go from there.
Yeah. At least for once.
Ooh,
Or can be messy. Yes.
that's a tough one. Let me think about it.
Well, next time?
Before the end of the
Before the end of the show.
I will see if somebody's name come to mind before the end of the show. Madeline, you gotta start asking me these tough questions. No. Look, we do our own polling, our own opinion polling, so we know the facts. Many of the opinion polls, I'm sure not all, but many of them are made up. They are political, right? So, but we know the facts, right? Because we do our own polling, and we're guided by that because we know it's objective. So I'm not too bothered by the radio polls per se.
Okay, so 077-5144-278. Magdalene will manage the call, and the rule of engagement, as I've always said, you have to address the studio guests with respect, irrespective of your differences on the political scene. You have to demand that from you. Other than that, you're not a part of this discourse. This is State of the Nation. Magdalene, let's take the calls.
Yeah, hello, sir. Quickly. Okay, all right. Let me take another one. Hello?
Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, I didn't know it's political national issues, which are very vital to our society. And I just want to encourage him to continue to fight. We look here, yeah. Yes, we continue to fight. We are married.
Oh, okay.
And for me, I voted for George about this coming 2024, and that's my vote with the Queen.
Okay. Let me for you right there. Hello? Yes, sir?
I can't hear him about that.
Hello?
And I called this evening for the grounds of the Coalition of Democratic Change headquarters.
Okay.
But I listened to Alexander Cummings speak.
Mm-hmm.
You know, all of what he said, I guess, is more rhetorical, political chicanery. This Alexander Cummings man have got no morals to talk about President Weah. This is a man who survived in corporate America on a gay lifestyle. And he cannot come to Liberia to derail the argument of the people from the
Okay.
VS truth. I can recall 2017.
Okay,
The
let me...
Comedy Diakate interviewed Cummings in that same Truth FM as per his gay lifestyle, and he said to
Hello?
Miss Magdalene, how are you?
I'm good, sir.
Thank you. I joined the discussion from District 4. I made the voice it's a pleasant afternoon to Honorable Cummings.
Yeah?
Honorable Cummings, I listened to you attentively and I think you spoke well, but I have this question for you. Since the departure of the Unity Party from CPP, now that you are the head of the CPP, can you speak to the Liberian people as to whether you have any regrets since the departure of Unity Party?
Okay, so let me for you right there. This phone is like freezing. Okay, let me take it from right here. Hello? Hello? Yes, sir.
Thank you, Marvin. My name is Lawrence Spencer. I am in Sandra Monrovia. So let me say what I'm going to people as president. Now, I personally, for the Bible movement, I want to encourage you. So not be carried away by this is like you know, the tendency is the system should remain this way.
Okay.
So like you said, every other thing that you have this way, someone else will finish what I'm saying right now. You will say I'm coming to get my job. So let me tell you, I think your concern now
Okay, all right. Hello?
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
This is Marcus Brown calling from Caldwell.
Okay.
Okay, let me say to my political leader, Mr. Alexander P. Alexander Cummings, and of folks of the Stella Marie, of the College of West Africa, rather. Mr. Cummings has been observed by me as a young Liberian to be one of the serious-minded political leaders because of his courage and his job well done in the corporate system. And I know that this individual has a very good leadership experience. So no matter what the antagonists do, we know that Mr. Cummings can make a better president of this country. And I'm supporting him throughout to the end.
Okay.
And we are in the Cummings' fight together.
All right. Let me hold you right there. In the Cummings fight together. Hello?
Hello.
Yes, sir.
This is Joseph who are calling from Ria Community.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Cummings, please, for my advice, please join the women to be a vice president as a program on CPP coming out. It's something we like for people.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Straight to the point. Thank you. Hello? Yeah, yes, sir. Quickly.
Okay, my name is Alvin, and I call from the Ramon Rubio.
Okay.
Let me begin by commending the political leader, that's elected to be president, Mr. Alexander Cummings. Sir, I want to keep your head high. Do not be deterred by those detractors. I may come and go and say what our things. The people in fight, let's keep the government. And come 2023, you'll be elected as our next president. Thank you, and God bless all of us.
Okay. Hello?
Yeah, good afternoon, Madeline.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon to Chris and good afternoon to Honorable Cummings.
Quickly.
This is Charles T. Cooper, I phone presently for Chris Brazil. And I want to say kudos to Honorable Cummings, the real change agent. I think he comes to the political sphere with leadership qualities that Liberia needs right now. And I want to say thank you to him for standing tall, especially when it comes to the issue of fighting corruption in our country. You know, Madeline, people said that it is Cummings who have put sanction on those corrupt government officials. So I said, but then he's a right person because the only thing that is suffering in this country
But
is corruption.
don't you feel proud as a supporter?
I'm proud because the only thing that is suffering in this country, madam, is corruption. So if you have a person who is spending a personal money, let us say he has spent 100,000 to put sanction people, try to end corruption, then I think he's a good piece of suited person for this country.
Okay. So I heard you right there, Chief. Hello?
Yeah, hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm trying to see. Hello.
You coming in broken. I will cut you off very soon. Hello? Hello? Okay, I'm sorry, I can't keep you on the line.
Tell him to
Hello?
readjust. Let him readjust and call.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Yeah, my name is Emmanuel Kingsman Jr. I do join you from district number 14.
Yes, quickly.
Yeah, let me commend you for hosting Honorable Cummings in your studio. And some of the things that I learned about agriculture, electricity, rules, and pipe of water, I strongly believe that Honorable Cummings can do it. Because for some of us were part and parcel of the CDC, but this government has let us down. This government has frustrated us. This government makes our minds to be down. Today we are living in abject poverty. Today we cannot find food to eat. Things are going up and down. But with this vision that Honorable Cummings has, I strongly believe that Honorable Cummings can do it for the Liberian people. He can be the better president, and I think Honorable Cummings.
Okay, Chief. You say a lot. Okay. Hello?
So, Madeline, this section will end at 4:30.
4:30?
Yes, 5 minutes to go.
Oh, okay. So, okay. All right. Let me take it easier. It's not easy. Hello?
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, I don't even know who I'm talking with. So, you just hold on. Okay. Hello?
Yeah, it's Frederick B. Gone.
Frederick, you got to hold on. Let me talk with... No, you hold on, Frederick. Hello?
Okay.
Yes, sir.
If a man can be able to fight corruption and pay money, lobby for people to sanction all the places of corruption. So I'm proud to follow such a president who wants to end corruption in this country. Thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome. Hello?
Yeah, hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm proud to be to associate myself with Alexander Cummings. I'm happy for the level of work he has done for us with the Liberians. He's always there for the masses.
Okay.
So I hope give my support to him.
All right. Okay, thanks for placing your call. Hello, Dada Way.
Good evening. And let me say good evening to Mr. Alexander Cummings. Mr. Cummings, this is Dr. Benjamin White, president of the Principal Association. Just quickly, I would like to know whether you intend to change the free tuition policy at the University of Liberia, and what differently will you do about education? I follow you, and one of the things I want to commend you for is that you stand about being the best and challenging the system for being the best. But I just want to hear your thought about this. Those things. Thank you, sir.
Okay. All right. Hello?
Hello, Madeline.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm going to be calling from online.
Okay.
Madeline, I want to ask my countrymen. I'm from Maryland, and people have been saying that government does not have a plan. I said, no. I have been doing the government public for a very long time. Some of them myself are telling the Harvard Association.
Chief, you got to go to the point and ask a question. We are really out of time. What's the question?
So what I'm going to do is, a lot of things are being said about it. I have to, because he's saying he wants to fight corruption. This is why people are fighting it. That is my question.
Okay. Okay, Chief. Yeah, Pastor Fatoma, you can place in your call. Hello?
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, this is DJ Lopez. Let me say, Honorable Cummings, thank you and welcome to the studio. Let me say thank you for the fight. If I all the claim that you're the one that selected the form for America for them to put pressure on corrupt people, let me commend you for that.
Okay.
Even though I'm not supporting you, but my question is, if I all it goes second round between Honorable Walker and President Weah, will you support the opposition banker or will you support President Weah? Or the same thing is different to say, I need it, everybody can take his side.
Okay.
Honorable Walker, if I all the people second round.
Okay. All right. I heard you ready. Hello?
Good evening.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you. This is my brother. My name is Jesse, and my family name is Lisa. I called you from my workplace in Amsterdam. So, Mr. Cummings, let me say, as always, my respect to you for the continuous fight to keep pushing. And that two issue quickly, I did listen to the narrator of Mr. Cummings, and one thing he said that catch my mind is that people are using the video, but it's the president that has the video. So which makes sense. But this is my point. I just want to get that clarity. Moving to the election, Mr. Cummings, you have been doing extremely well. What are your feelings in the National Election Commission looking at the current building push? You feel the Election Commission has deals with the bias rate and has deals with the biometric system. And then lastly, by that line, I was just reading from one of the history programs, and it said that 2023 elections, whoever wins will take seat. Ideally, why the complainant will be complaining will seek legal redress.
Okay.
So that is
All right. Okay. Your questions are taken, and then, hello, Pastor Fatoma?
yeah, good afternoon, Madeline.
Yeah.
Good afternoon to your honorable guest, Mr. Cummings, Alexander Cummings. I am Pastor David Fatoma, Senior Pastor of National Chapter and also Religious Ambassador of State of the Nation FM. I got a concern. One of the things I want to first of all say is that I have no doubt that Mr. Cummings is prepared. In fact, he's overly qualified to be president of Liberia. But there is something that is growing in this nation. Liberia, Mr. Cummings, I want you to listen to this. Liberia is a highly religious and traditional society. There is this accusation on I listened to a killing
how conditional this issue is. So I want you, like I said, I have no doubt you are one of the most qualified presidents to be.
Okay.
Happy and for the presidency.
Okay,
So we
Pastor.
don't clarify this and get clear about this.
Okay,
Okay.
Pastor. Thank you.
Okay.
Can
So,
we take Emmett Hammond, please?
yeah, last caller, please.
Yeah, Emmett? Yes, sir.
Okay, thank
Okay.
you so much. So, Madeline, just put the phone on flight mode.
Okay.
You got
Sure.
you got somebody on
Yes,
there?
somebody else. Yes. Yeah, hello, sir.
My darling, my name is Alexander Cummings. I do not be deterred by those detractors. They are just doing that to get no the thing that will do that with their professional. That is, of course, this thing, and that yes, they will do the work. But as far as I'm concerned, you are the next president for this country, so nothing else they can do for we that people for our
Okay. All right.
Okay,
Okay.
let me hold you right there. I'm sorry we can't take any more.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We can take the calls because we have to be in time. Let me just make this clarification before we go into the answer. The young man who called from the CDC headquarters, I signaled to Madeline to cut you off because your question was an accusation, pointing finger instead of asking a question, as done by Pastor Fatoma. The difference between you and Pastor Fatoma, the reason why I allow him to go on, because he was seeking clarity. Unlike you at the CDC headquarters, sorry, I can't remember your name, but you were being emphatic and as if you have all the pieces of evidence, and we can't. As I said, I am a man of tradition, and my platform is never used to insult anyone, especially somebody of a fatherly figure, that you can address your father the way you can address your father like that. I wouldn't sit to hear another person or address another person's father like that. Sorry that I had to do what I did. It is the rule of engagement. Now, Mr. Cummings, let's hear one by one. You have up to 25 minutes to address all these concerns. Thank you so much.
So in no particular order, the question about, Nima running mate, I think that was the last question. Look, we are considering all well-qualified Liberians to be vice president. We have commissioned a committee to do the search for us. That committee has started to do their work. Of course, we will look at the vote-rich counties. So Nimba, Bong, Lopa, Bassa, but we're not going to limit to those counties only. So no decision has been made. All Liberians, well-meaning, can be considered, will be considered, but no decision has been made. The committee is looking, and we will make the right choice for our country. We will pick somebody who, God forbid, something happens to me, they can take over. Our policies will continue. They will have integrity. They will be able to manage the economy, manage the country, and all citizens of Liberia who are qualified will be considered, and Anibayan will be on our list amongst many others. Okay. Question about the NEC, National Elections Commission, biometric, etc., etc. On the biometric issue, biometric is the way to go long term. I mean, in our passports today, is biometric, I said. But my caution is that before you introduce that, you need time to, so what I call practice. We got to educate Liberians on what that means, how it works, right? If we're going to do biometric, we should have been doing this for these past by-elections, so we can get used to it. Even the NEC and the employers need to understand it, how it works. Voters need to be educated about biometric. So it makes no sense with a year away from the election to conduct. What most people do is you run both processes at the same time. You run your new process and you run your old process, so one can validate the other, right? So biometric is not a bad thing. To try to do 1 year for an election makes no sense, and that's something we will push back against, because we have not had the time to educate ourselves about how it works, to practice it, to make sure we get all the bugs out, etc., etc. On the National Elections Commission, look, we got some concerns about the NEC, about capability, capacity. So we just got to monitor the NEC. We got to make sure we get poll watchers. We got to make sure we monitor the voter registration process. We have to almost build a parallel organization to make sure, the checks and balances are there, so that we get, free and fair elections. There was a question about, do we regret the Unity Party leaving the CPP? Look, it's unfortunate that the Unity Party left the CPP. You cannot, united opposition would make a difference. But it was their decision to leave. We are determined to get other people to join us, and they will. We'll get other political parties, individuals to come and support us. And I believe we will do the work. We'll make the case to Liberian people, and I believe Liberians will make the right decision, the right choice for going forward. So, question about the second round, and I got this question the last time I was here. And what I say to Liberians is, we should not go into any situation planning not to win, not to be successful. And again, I want Liberians to hear my voice, particularly young Liberians. And many of the press, men here now, women, they're young. All of you listen. Don't plan your life around not succeeding, around failure, around a plan, quote unquote, a plan B. Part of my success has been that I established goals for myself, objectives, and I work towards those goals. I plan for success. I plan to win, and I work to win. I do the work and make the sacrifice. So if there is a second round, my plan is to be in the second round. But we're organizing ourselves because we are going for a first round victory. We may or may not get it, but I'm not planning not to get it. And if we don't get it, then we'll deal with it when we get there. But please, as a country, as a people, let's plan for success. Let's plan so we can change our country. Let's do the work. Let's not compromise too quickly. Let's not, settle for mediocrity. And so my answer to that question is, I'm planning, and we'll work towards a first round victory. And if it doesn't happen, we'll deal with it when we get there. There was a question on education and free tuition. Yes. Look, it's difficult. It will be difficult to abandon the free tuition policy. You can't give and then be Scrooge, kind of take away. What we will do, though, is we will have to improve the quality of education in Liberia. That's the issue. So when I think about education, these are our educational priorities. One is we will focus on teachers training and making sure we're compensating our teachers well so we can attract good people into the profession. We'll make sure they're trained, and I mean at all levels. If you don't have good teachers at university level, secondary level, elementary, you will not get good students. They will not learn. So we gotta focus on teacher education, teachers training, and we gotta pay our teachers well so they're not taking money for grades and stuff like that. We're gonna focus on vocational training. So we give our young people the skills they need, like electrician, plumbing, mason, carpenters, cake decorating, home economics. Those are the things we want to focus on, give those people those basic skills. So that'll be a part of the priority. And then we want to also focus on adult education. Because of the war, the civil unrest, many of our adults, are not educated. We want to focus on adult. So those are the priorities for education. And as I say, we can't take away free tuition now, but we got to focus on making sure that the quality of the university education is there. Let me talk about this key issue.
Yes.
First of all,
as raised by Pastor Fatama.
Yeah, I don't think Pastor Fatama listen to the full interview from Jakarta, because there was no admission. So I challenged him to go and listen to the full interview and the full question, because there was no admission. I've said and will say, and you know, by the way, this government have nothing they can pin on me. They can't say I corrupt, because I'm not. They can't say I helped facilitate the war, because I didn't. They can't say I'm incompetent and inept, because I'm not. So they will find things to
No,
make
but
up
not
on
on the
me.
government people.
But the government, the CDC guy, they are perpetuating it. So it's not only them, but they are the ones perpetuating this myth. It is not true. As I said, the Reverend should listen to the full interview. There was no admission or anything in that interview. So let me do that. But it's not a lifestyle I support. I'm married, been married for 40 years, happily so, children, grandchildren. So it's completely bogus, and I can't see any stronger than that. I want to thank. I think I got all the questions. I want to thank everybody for their encouragement, their support. There were many of the callers, encouraged us to keep fighting, to keep making the case, and we will do that. As I said earlier, I am undeterred. We'll take the bullets and the arrows and the accusations, because at the end of the day, this effort is for our land, for us, for the Liberian people. We deserve a better country. We can have a better country. We can change Liberia. We are not going to let this government play victim. They got to take responsibility. The president is president of Liberia. He's got the authority to change this country. He's got the resources. He's got paid to do it, not to go and play football in the middle of the week. We're not going to let them off the hook, because it is their responsibility to change this country. And while he's in office, we will continue to call him up for the lack of leadership, for the lack of results, for the lack of accountability. You know, this blame. We're not going to let him off the hook. He is president. He's been president for 5 years. What has he done to change the trajectory of this country? What has he done to stop the corruption? We want him to investigate these people that were sanctioned and prosecute them, and we'll keep talking about it. We want him to declare his assets. So my point is, we are not going to be discouraged. We'll take the bullets and arrows that come our way, because we are doing this on behalf of our people. And I believe passionately in Liberia and passionately in our people. And I know we can do better as a people.
Okay, so these are a few questions, and they're going to be driving us home. Is it true you gave money to Prince Johnson? I keep seeing it all over the place.
Yeah, look, we gave money to Prince Johnson's University, Community College. As you know, Chris, we invest in education. I think education, and I mentioned our priorities, and we've been talking about agriculture.
Mm-hmm.
Education ultimately is what will sustain any change we make in Liberia. So and you know, the Prince Johnson just did for me what I don't like to do. I don't like to talk about everything I've done, beat my chest.
Did he solicit it?
But yes, he did. But the bigger point is, this was a contribution to the institution. We've also given money to Nima County Community College.
He didn't want it to go public.
It's okay if it go public, but it's good if it comes from others, not from me. Okay. That's the point. We've given money. We did a generator at BWI. We've done computer labs at Federal University of Liberia, AMEU University, St. Clements University. I don't remember all the lists. We've done computer labs many places. We do scholarships at TU. You know, the statement Prince Johnson made, the people in Maryland say, "Oh, you're doing enough in Maryland because my family can't." We're not doing enough there. They say we're going to do it in Nima. But you know, the Cummings, there's some Cummings that were in the Tapeta area. In Nima, in fact, Captain Cummings was represented senator from Nima. So we have an affiliation to Nima. And so again, we try to help as much as we can. But education is an area we focus on as a family, as a foundation. And so we did make contributions to Prince, his university. I think is what he calls it.
Okay, so the last, not the least, anyway. In your second open letter, you mentioned accused President Weah of funding rebel groups in Liberia, you got a proof. He could take legal action against you.
Yeah, but the president hasn't denied it. That just to be clear. The others, since my response to him, the others that have confirmed it, that came on other stations, people who know him, who are close to him. Yeke Koloba made an accusation, some time ago. But the point to Chris is that I don't do anything in a frivolous manner. I don't make statements that are just statements for political reasons. We were specific in the letter about the amounts and that kind of stuff. That should give you and others an indication that we're not just making loose statements.
So you did this all along?
I said to the Liberian people in that letter the facts of the situation. I was calling out the fact that the president is two-faced. On the one hand, the president was quote-unquote peace ambassador. The president, claims all of these sort of sympathy he wants. But on the other hand, the facts say something else. The facts say that the president helped to perpetuate the war. And so, again, Liberians got to look at all of these things. The president can't have it both ways. The president can't be two-faced. We'll call on the two-facedness, right? And that's what we're trying to do, to get the facts of the Liberian people. And then Liberians, again, will make the decision on whether they wanted to keep becoming president or they want to make a change.
So somebody said, based on what your revelation, no wonder why the case of the special court, the war crime court, is downplayed. You want to believe that?
Yeah, I want to believe that part of his consideration, why he probably hasn't pushed it, even though when he was running for president,
yes, he promised to
do that, right? And so, yes, whoever made that assertion, I think there's some validity to that because of his involvement, engagement, even though he promised it, he's not relented, and he's not pursuing it and doing it.
Okay, so let's close up on this one. When the letter came up, the response, it was widely believed, speculated that Mr. Weah himself was not the one who authored those scripts. But that is besides the point. With the business schedule you have, you sit to write those long letters, or you a speech writer doing it for you?
It's a combination of both. I read prolifically, Chris. I write very well. One of my best high school teachers was actually a Ghanaian, Stephen H. Addo. Taught me English and literature at CPP. And so I write well. And those letters, those speeches are a combination. I sit and script and write. People add, they embellish it, comes back to me. I edit and change. So it's what they call an iterative process. But yes, but now this is why I say let the president. I can't debate because that we can prove now. We can sit down, we can stand up, and everyone can judge. Look at the facts. Look at how.
So besides debating, you want to go for writing competition?
I'm happy to do that. I'm happy to give me a pad, get a preso a pad, and Magdalene say ask any question and say let us respond. I'm prepared to take that on. We can debate. We can do it in writing. Absolutely.
You're decimating all.
Well, let the board decide whether that I can't declare.
Okay, this time around, no speech writer between the two of you.
Nobody. The two of can sit and debate, or you give her the pad, ask the question, you'll say your answer, and then we publish it. I'm happy to do that. Take that on right away.
Sorry, because of your 6 o'clock schedule, we have to let you go. It's 10 minutes or up to 5 o'clock. Maybe for next 5 minutes.
Sure.
Yes, you can close up to those who are listening. The people.
So first of all, let me thank you again, Magdalene, for the interaction. I want to thank the callers as well, and then all the other media participants. Thank you. Let me say the following. In no particular order, we are determined to continue to make the case to Liberians to give us a chance to serve them. We'll continue to tell Liberians we can do better as a country, as a people, and we deserve better. Liberia deserve better. Liberians deserve better. We'll continue to call the president out. And when we do this, we're speaking to the facts. The president can blame me all he wants. It's about the facts. What the ministers were sanctioned for were facts. Alexander Cummings did not encourage or tell them to commit those acts. They committed those acts for which they were sanctioned by the United States government. Fact. The video blaming, we didn't do any of that, but again, the president has now spoken to the content of the video. But the final message to Liberians, though, is that we are aspiring to lead our country on behalf of all Liberians. I remind Liberians, you don't choose, Chris, the tribe you're born into. You don't choose Gola, Gio, Vai, Loma, Kisi.
You hold me responsible for my religion, what I want, how I want to praise God. But you don't hold me responsible for being a Loma man.
But no, but
you agree with me?
You didn't choose a religion you were born into. You didn't choose to be born Christian or Muslim, right?
Exactly.
And by the way, 99% of people, the religion they're born into, they die. Only a few people that change religion. Yeah. So we can't hold that against you. You Muslim or you Christian, that shouldn't help you or hurt you. You can't choose whether you're man or woman. My point I'm making is, none of these things should affect you as an individual because it's not a choice. So it shouldn't give you an advantage or disadvantage over anybody. It's what you do as an individual. You can choose to obey the law or not. That's a choice. And if you don't obey the law, we'll punish you. I keep describing this bowl of rice we all eat from. Every Liberian will be eating that. We'll grow the bowl of rice. That's one of my strengths. We'll grow the economy. We'll create jobs. We'll grow the rice. And every Liberian will be able to put a hand in that bowl of rice. No matter who you are, because you don't choose. But if you don't follow the rules, follow the law, we'll not let you eat in a bowl of rice because that's your choice. And then if you lazy, you will not eat much of rice. But you can be lazy or sure, it's up to you. That's the kind of Liberia we want. Where every Liberian has
like you want to bring out Thomas Sankara's style of leadership.
I want to bring Thomas Sankara's style where it's based on merit. It's based on what you do. Look, just yesterday, Chris, we awarded some scholarships to students, the foundation day. That scholarship process is open to all Liberians around the country. And we don't ask questions about what party you. We don't ask questions about your tribe. We don't ask your religion. On the application, we don't ask whether you're being a woman. The point is, we want a society that's based on people's effort, on your skill, on merit. Not things you don't choose. And that's the kind of Liberia we want. We want a Liberia for all Liberians. I want to be president for seditions, for ANC, for CPP, for Unity Party, for the Gribo people, the Gio people, the Mano people, the Madingo people, the Vai people, every Liberia. That's the kind of country we want. And that's what we should aspire to as a people. We need to be demanding of each other. We need to push each other. We shouldn't accept this plan beating. Otherwise, Liberia will not change. And we must change our country. We have to bring Liberia into the 21st century. You go to Ghana, you go to Ivory Coast. I mean, these people are not any smarter than us. Why are they moving ahead? We should be vexed with ourselves. And we should demand this of our leaders. So thank you for the opportunity and look forward to more conversations. But God bless you. God bless Liberia.
Thank you so much. Okay, Mr. Alexander Cummings is ending this media engagement on state of the nation. My name is Chris. Magdalene will now sign us off for tomorrow. Hopefully, we'll play also Ronnie J. Samukai. If it does not work tomorrow, then we'll take it from Thursday. That is, we are very close to bringing Mr. Samukai on the show. Bye-bye.
So folks, thanks for viewing on Spawn TV. My name is Aaron Kubana.
Okay,
Thank you for viewing.
So all line up on tomorrow.
Bye-bye.